schizophrenic and so dangerously volatile that levels or anything else for that matter is irrelevant. As we can see today, it was a full-blown massacre to pretty much the overnight, where we gapped down on Sunday on that Greek news, only to see Janet Yellen starting to press the buy button to reverse it, cross through that whole range, blow through yesterday's high and reach last night's high. And now, as we have opened, we are on the way down. If we go look at on our daily here, we can also see that it is just a bloodbath massacre. Candles that have 30-40 points range that are entirely tested, retested, reversed. It's wild, wild west. And why? Because it's the battle of the gods. One real God, which is the God of the market, that wants to go through a cycle of contraction in order to adjust itself with the reality of the world. And then the paper God. The paper God that is the Federal Reserve and other central banks that do not want to see this market start a down move, because they know very well that after an abuse as the one that they have created on phony, fake market manipulation buying, that the start of anything on the downside could trigger a snowball effect that could be just devastating. So the fake gods are printing, loading Goldman Sachs' machines with fresh bills, and they are just telling them no matter what it is, you can only press one button, is the buy. So the gods are battling themselves here. Which god will win? We shall see. Will it be the paper god or the real god? All I know is the following. Either from a fundamental point of view of the economies, either from a geopolitical point of view, either from a point of view of financial and default potential of Greece, which could then spill into other countries, nothing makes sense for the market to be where it is at. And as we saw, the slightest sign of nervousness will create tremendous amount of jitter. Of course, the downside jitter is met, as I told you, by the paper gods and their paper money. But if history repeats itself, the real god of the market will win, and this market will adjust itself a little bit to the reality of what is going on around the world. If the paper gods win, then we have to change God, because then the real God will become the Federal Reserve, because they have found the recipe to eternal safety and security, and nothing ever again in history of mankind will move the markets down, because they found a way to stop it. So these two currents fighting each other, the natural cycle of the market and the illegal, nasty manipulation of the Federal Reserves, is creating a mess. And within this mess you have excess volatility, very dangerous moves, which you can completely get run over, destroyed, no matter how wide or not wide your stop is going to be. So best is maybe to just step on the sideline until this mess over there is fixed, and we get a resolution of what's going to happen with Greece, how the Chinese market is going to hold, what will be this clownish negotiation between this administration and the Iranian mullahs, what that will yield, and the problems all across the world, etc., etc. So very, very aggressive market condition and extraordinary dangerous. Now with crude, today was also an extraordinary, violent and brutal and murderous day, where again they just massacred it, and as they massacred it and it reached below 51, the mother Zilla of buy program kicked in and completely blew through any support, any resistance that was listed above. Now, why did it kick in from that level? I believe that I was telling you, once it's gonna hit close to this 52.50 level, it is gonna become a very attractive buy. And on the top of that, you had the touch of a support line down there, which acted as extreme support. Now, clearly, when you drop from $62 to $51 in a matter of a day or a few days, this kind of a reaction from the bottom is very common. However, when they do happen, which they don't often, they crush anything and everything on its way when it reverses itself. Again, based on this rejection that we have seen from the bottom, one can definitely conclude that 51 is extremely solid support now. And any buy near 51 again should represent good buy opportunity with limited risk, which should be right around $50.50. On the upside, there are three POCs lined up: 54, 55, and then 55.67 or 8 up there. So pullbacks during the overnight close to 51, 51.20 should encounter significant support once again. This is very oversold now, and as that deal with Iran, of course, the clown has delayed it again today, of course. But if something is not reached by the end of the week, then I should expect a very increased volatility to the upside, because then obviously the situation will change with Iran, and this negotiation going down the drain could definitely trigger more jitter for the region. Now as for Euro, once again today the shorts got slammed because the market is simply not responding anymore to the Greek business on the downside, and now it is starting to become a little bit on the nervous side for the shorts because they are not getting any results out of this market. Therefore, a short squeeze from these levels could be triggered with the snap of a finger. On the upside, we have 1.1150 and then 1.1370, but once again, one should be very much so aware that this market is heavily influenced by outside news, and no matter what chart you look at or no method you look at, if an outside news of importance is released, everything goes down the drain and market will do what it needs to do to adjust to that news. Now for gold, sure, with all this business going on, another slam on the downside. I give up because I don't understand it anymore. They are now saying that it's the weakness that we saw in China that is putting pressure on commodities, etc. I don't buy it. I believe that this thing is very intentionally drove to the downside day after day after day after day, because it's a direct competition against the US dollar, and it's a direct bet against the US dollar. And if this thing starts to flare up, that will be the biggest slap on the face of that Ben Bernanke that is no longer around, and his little mini-me Janet Yellen in the Federal Reserve seat. Gold cannot go up, as simple as that. If it starts to do what it did 2 years ago, it will be just plain devastation for the Federal Reserve and the dollar. So far they're doing a fantastic job, and I hope all the billionaires of this world know that, and I hope that the Federal Reserve is giving them a fabulous opportunity to load up their safes with hefty bullions at dirt cheap price. Thank you for listening. This was Reza with Profiletraders. If you wish to join our trading room and get the courses, you can get them all, 5 courses and 1 year to the trading room for $550 from my website, profiletraders.com. Have a great evening.